Hi, Zach. Hi, Brian. I hope you can hear me.
Hi,
Yes.
hi, Angela. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Hi, Zach.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, well, thank you.
How's my audio?
I'll hand over to you and begin the recording. So over to you, Zach. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Angela. And I'm really humbled by that introduction. Maybe people will think that this is um, someone else, but I'm just a simple person from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm not going to say anything more from what Angela has shared with you guys, but thank you very much for the welcome, and thank you everyone for joining this webinar. I'm truly humbled by the opportunity to share a little bit about the CIS framework, and I hope that it will be helpful not only to you as individuals, but also to the organizations that you work for. The CIS framework is one of the projects that we are running at NetHoop for our members and some of our partners, just to see where they stand in regards to their cybersecurity posture. And this is the second time that we're doing this exercise, and we saw that it was very helpful. So if you've not yet implemented any kind of framework within your organizations, I challenge you guys to at least adopt the CIS framework. So without wasting much time, we've already not really lost, but we are 10 minutes into the meeting. So I will start my presentation. I hope everyone is able to see my screen. Is it?
Yes, Zach, I can see your screen. Brian, can you confirm you can see Zach's screen?
Yes, I can see his screen.
Oh, we're good to go, Zach.
Okay, thank you. So we'll start with the agenda, where we're going to look at what is a cybersecurity framework, then what has brought us here, as in what are CIS controls, what is the CIS version 8.0, and as organizations, how can organizations use the version 8.0 to assess their cybersecurity posture? What are the benefits of self-assessment? Because we have like two types of assessments. You can host your assessments online, and you can do it yourself, or just assessing yourself to know where you stand. We're going to look at the benefits. And finally, we are going to have a demo of the CIS CSAT tool, which is a tool that has been developed by the CIS team, which enables people to do the assessment very, very easily. So that is what we're going to cover in this presentation today. And then finally, we're going to have the Q&A. So what is a cybersecurity framework? So from the website and the CIS website, if you look at, if you Google it up, you'll see that a cybersecurity framework are just sets of documents that tend to describe the guidelines, standards, and the best practices designed for cybersecurity risk management, which the frameworks exist to reduce an organization's exposure to the weaknesses, vulnerabilities that anyone, especially hackers and other cybersecurity criminals, may exploit. But much like a framework in the real world, it consists of a structure that supports building or other large object. The cybersecurity framework tends to provide the foundation, structure, and support to an organization's security methodologies and efforts. So from that definition, I think you already have an idea what is a framework and where we're going to. So why do you need a framework for your organization, especially if you're an IT expert or you're a consultant? Yeah. Of course, you need it because the framework will try to provide guidelines and best practices for your organizations, which enable you to follow so that you can secure your systems, networks, and data, cloud, emails, everything. Because when you look at the frameworks, they have anything to do with cybersecurity or IT in general, or the infrastructure in general, how you can protect it, the best practices, policies, and what have you. So these frameworks tend to help organizations establish a culture of security, reduce the risk of data breaches, and also attacks. So definitely organizations need the frameworks to protect their valuable assets from cybersecurity threats. And we know that you can't protect what you know. So you need to know what you have before you start protecting it. And also, the frameworks tend to help businesses identify and manage risks, detect and respond to threats, and also recover from incidents. So implementing these frameworks will help people to build trust with their customers, partners, stakeholders, by doing what? Demonstrating a commitment to cybersecurity and also protecting sensitive information. Nowadays, people say that oil is not the real deal. The real deal is data. If I have your data, or if I have anything that pertains to you, then I have an upper hand in anything that I do. So what are the types of frameworks? You can see we have control frameworks, program frameworks, and risk frameworks. So control frameworks are controls or measures that an organization, your organization or individual, depending on the size of the organization, can implement to protect your information systems and data. They tend to offer a set of guidelines for organizations to follow to reduce the risk of cyber attacks. Then we look at program frameworks, where these are type of frameworks that focus on the development and management of cybersecurity programs. The frameworks, the program frameworks tend to provide guidelines and best practices for developing, implementing, and maintaining a cybersecurity program tailored to a particular organization. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. It depends with the size of your organization, the number of people, the number of devices, what you guys are doing. Maybe you're dealing with software only. You're a software company that produces software for other people, such kind of things. That's a program framework. Some of the frameworks that are program frameworks include the Cyber Essentials, which tends to be used by the people in the UK, organizations in the UK. As you're going to see, there are some frameworks that have been proposed to these organizations that based in certain countries, like NIST. So we also have HITRUST, we have HIPAA, all fall under the category of program frameworks. Then we have the risk frameworks, which they tend to provide a structural approach to risk management, and they also allow to identify and prioritize these potential threats. Some of them include NIST, CIS, the one that we're going to discuss in detail, and also the ISO 27001 and 27002. So the next slide, we are going to look at the functions of frameworks. This thing looks very familiar to those people who've dealt with frameworks before. Identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover, and the cycle again continues. So when you identify, you tend to assist developing a hierarchical approach to cybersecurity concerning frameworks, individuals, resources, information, and capacities. All these fall under the identification stage. Then we have the protect. Protect is a function of the cybersecurity framework, as it acts as a shield to ensure that the conveyance of this essential information, foundation and administration, which underpins the ability to mitigate the effects of a potential cybersecurity threat. Then the third step is detect, which refers to the proper exercise to identify the event of a cybersecurity experience. After you've detected, then you respond to that threat, which includes the steps for making a move towards distinguishing to a distinguished cybersecurity stage. Then the last stage in regards to a function of a cybersecurity framework is recover. Now you've gone through all the 4 stages, then the last one is to recover, and then you start the cycle all over again if a threat is detected. Then we look at some of the most common frameworks that you have. We have NIST. I'm sure most of us have heard about NIST. We have ISO. So NIST is a voluntary framework developed by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, I think. Yes, it helps organizations manage and reduce cybersecurity risks. mostly we find that organizations that are affiliated to the US government are the ones that are using the NIST. Yeah, because as I mentioned earlier, we have organizations or governments that propose these cybersecurity frameworks to organizations based in that country, if they want funding from the government or something like that. So we have the ISO, which is a widely recognized international standard for information security management systems. We have the PCI DSS, dealing with cards, to ensure that all companies accept, process, store, or transmit credit card information, maintaining a secure environment. Then we are going to discuss in detail about the CIS. We have heat trust, we have the FedRAMP, we have the C2M2, that is cybersecurity capability maturity model. We have the cyber essentials. There are a lot, but these are kind of the most popular that we have currently being utilized by most of the organizations. So what are CIS controls? Formerly known as the SANS top 20 critical controls, not 18, because the version 7 that is still in use, because some of the organizations still use version 7, had 20 security controls. But version 8, the one that we're going to look at, has got only 18 controls. So these are just best practices for for cybersecurity developed by the Center for Internet Security. The main idea is to provide a priorities list of actions so that the organizations can follow these actions to have a cybersecurity posture that will defend against common threats and also uncommon threats. They are regularly updated by the CIS team, and the controls version 8 is the most recently, as I said earlier. So what are the CIS security controls? The version 8, launched in 2018, taking over from version 7. We are going to look at the changelog, what changed from version 7 to version 8. There were 20, but now there are 18, So they are just a set of 18 cyber defense controls from the previous 20, and now they are divided into implementation group. As you're going to see, we have implementation group 1, 2, and 3, and depending on the size of the organization, the number of people, what you have, the equipment that you have, it's going to determine which implementation group that you're going to use. So here is the changelog. You can see the version 7 on the left had got 20 controls. Version 8 has got 18 controls. We're going to see the controls in detail in the next slide. You can see some of the things have been mounted. Things like data protection has moved from where it was from control 13 from version 7 to control 3, because we can see that people are moving towards data. Secure configuration of network devices moved from number 11 to number 4. When we ask ourselves why, because these are some of the important things that needed to be taken into control. The way people are now moving from working in the office and working remotely, the devices that we use, we're no longer using only our computers, we're using our devices like our phones, we are using our tablets for our day-to-day work. So you'll see that they are moving on top of the log because of their importance compared to some few years back. That's why we moved from CIS version 7 to version 8. This is the complete list with the explanation of each control. You can see here under control 1, we have things that we call safeguards. Under control 1, we have 5 safeguards. Control 2, we have 7 here, and control 3, we have 14. I'm going to explain more what are safeguards, but implementation group 1, if you are a small organization and you want to use the CIS control to to assess the security posture of your organization, it's good to use implementation group 1. Why am I saying this? So it depends with the surface of attack. Consider that an organization has got 5 people. That means we have the surface of attack is only 5. And consider another organization that has got 200 people. Yeah, it means it has got a broader surface of attack compared to this small organization. So it means that they'll need more resources to be able to protect this organization. Yeah, let me bring it closer home. You have a house that has got only one door. Yeah, meaning you only need that one padlock to lock your door. But if your home has got 20 doors, then you'll need 20 padlocks. Yeah, because the surface of attack, anyone is able to enter from any door. So you need to protect all the doors there. So why did we move from version 7 to version 8? As I explained earlier, there has been an increase in cloud-based computing. People are moving from stationary devices or computing to the cloud. Virtualization and also mobility. You are no longer working while seated at the office. You can work from anywhere. Mobility, outsourcing, work from home, and change in attack tactics. Nowadays, it's not the Stuxnet kind of attack where someone drops a USB key. We have the phishings, we have the social engineering, we have very many other sources of attack or tactics of attacks to our existence or our networks. Yeah. So like control 0.1 has got 5 safeguards. You can see implementation group 1 is written 2 out of 5. What does that mean? It means for you to be compliant under implementation group for control 1, you need to have at least 2 out of 5 safeguards done with or compliant with 2 out of 5 safeguards. So you look at implementation group 2, it says 4 out of 5. Why does it say so? It says so because implementation group 2 has got a larger surface of attack. So the number of safeguards are more compared to implementation group 1. And implementation group 3 is you need to complete 5 out of 5 of the inventory and control of enterprise assets. Okay. So as you go up to implementation group 18, you will notice that it is all the implementation groups are implementation group 3 has got all the safeguards, which are 154 safeguards, if I'm not wrong. But implementation group 1 has got 54. Implementation group 2 has got 73. So if, depending on the size of your organization, you have to complete all the 154 safeguards to complete the implementation group. So if you're small, you're lucky. If you're big, you're unlucky because you need to have the resources to do this. You need to know who does what. For example, implementation group 3 deals with data protection. We know we have a SecOps department, security operations department. So you need to share this with the data protection team to give you the feedback. So it takes time, yes, but at the end of the day or at the end of this exercise, you will be sure that you have the right information because you've gotten it from the right person. Yes, and here are the implementation group. The implementation group 1 are just basics. I don't mean that they are 1 to 6, but most of the implementation group 1 fall under controls 1 to 6. Yeah, so they just provide foundational cybersecurity measures that all organizations, depending on the size, should implement to establish a baseline level of security in their organization. So basically, they focus on areas such as inventory, control of hardware, software assets, secure configurations, and also things to do with administrative privileges. If you give out devices and everyone that has this device has got administrative privileges, then you need to think twice. Why have I given administrative privileges to everyone using these devices? Yeah. Implementation group 2 is all about foundational level of it's building on from the basic, which is implementation group 1, which the controls build on the basic controls and provide additional protection against cyber threats. They cover such areas as email, web browser protections, malware defenses, data recovery, and secure network configuration, and also boundary defense and data protection. Yeah, so that's what falls under implementation group 3. The implementation group 3, they address the overarching management and governance aspects of cybersecurity. Nowadays, we are talking of GRC governance. So that is why we have implementation group 3, which include areas of security awareness training, incident response, penetration testing, and continuous monitoring. And you'll see if you're a small organization and you have 5 laptops, definitely you need to know the number of devices. You need to have an inventory of these 5 devices that you have. But is it really necessary to do continuous monitoring for these 3 devices that you have in your organization? Yes or no? Depends. That's why you'll find that such things like incident response, penetration testing, continuous monitoring fall under implementation group 3. So each control within the CIS control frameworks is accompanied by specific implementation recommendations, which organizations can use as guidance to achieve the desired security outcomes. Yeah, so it's very important to note that the controls are not meant to be a one-size-fits-all solution. And your organization, depending on the size, once again, can tailor their implementation based on their specific needs. If you don't have a department that deals with data, then you can just disable that particular control and continue the rest. Okay, if I'm speaking too fast, someone please raise your hand and tell me to slow down. Yeah, so this slide shows the description of a control. We saw that the version 8 has got 18 controls. This is an example of how the safeguards look. Like control 1, which deals with inventory and control of enterprise assets, has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 safeguards. When you go to control 2, which deals with inventory and control of software assets, has got 7 safeguards. Yeah, so the first safeguard says establish and maintain detailed enterprise asset inventory. We are going to see this practically because I have the the tool ready. So we're going to see this after the presentation. So you can see this is very important, safeguard 1.1, and it covers all the 3 implementation groups. That is 1, 2, and 3. Address and authorize assets. It's very important. So if someone comes and install a router in your office, we all need Wi-Fi nowadays. You need to know what is there because you can't protect what you don't know. Yeah. So also as important as it is, it appears in all the 3 implementation groups. And we have the 1.3, which is utilize an active directory tool, which is not important for implementation group 1, and I'll explain why. If you have a small organization that has got 5 laptops, you don't need a tool to an active discovery tool because you already see that we are missing 1 device, or these are the 5 devices that are connected to the network. So it's not important for you to have it under implementation group 3. But as you go, or as your organization grows, it becomes very important because now it stops from being basic and it becomes complex. Yeah. The same for 1.4. 1.5 only applies to implementation group 3. Okay. So I hope I am clear on that. And you can see here under safeguard total, implementation group 1 is 2 out of 5. And you'll see there is only 1.1 and 1.2 out of the 5 safeguards under control 1. Okay. If you look at implementation group 2 here under this control, applies to 4 safeguards and doesn't apply to use a passive asset discovery tool. Yeah, but for implementation group 5, we have 5 out of 5, meaning all under this control, all the safeguards do apply for you to be compliant. Okay. So next, we're going to look at how organizations can use self-assess their cybersecurity posture. And you can see you get to evaluate current security practices, conduct a gap analysis, develop an action plan. Also, you tend to, you need to, how can you make use of these controls? So first, you need to familiarize yourself with the controls, yeah, by reviewing the controls document, which are provided for free by CIS, by the way. You don't need to pay anything. You can just go to their website, download this, and look at the document. The documents do provide a detailed description of each control and its associated objectives, requirements, metrics. Then you'll understand the intent and scope of each control. Then also evaluate current security practices that are in your organization, whereby you need to assess your organization's current cybersecurity practices against each control from the 18 controls that we have. Then from there, you'll identify the areas where you have implemented the controls effectively and areas where you need improvement. Then you can map controls to your environment, where you identify how each control applies to your organization's specific environment. Because as I said earlier, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. You need to tailor-made it to how your organization fits, which consider the size of your organization, industry-specific requirements, regulatory compliance needs, and any unique aspects of your system you need to put into considerations. Conduct a gap analysis where you compare your current security practices with the requirements and metrics that are outlined in the controls, the CIS controls, that is. Then after you conduct a gap analysis, you develop an action plan based on the results of the gap analysis. Then you create an action plan that outlines the steps needed to improve your organization's security posture. From the action plan, it's important that you make improvements. So implement the improvements where you start by implementing the necessary changes and improvements identified in your action plan. And then you measure the progress continuously, where you track your organization's progress in implementing the controls. So if you're able to do all the safeguards under control 1, check control 2, 3, and 4. And after that, it's very important for you to do periodic assessments. You don't just do it today and you sit back and relax for the next 10 years, because the environment is changing very fast. So you need to do periodic assessments, if it's quarterly, yearly, or after 6 months. Yeah. So a quarterly kind of assessment is really good. So how does the CIS version 8 improve security awareness visibility in your organization? Clear objectives and requirements. Yeah. So the version 8 controls will provide the clear objectives and requirements for each control by outlining the specific actions, measures organizations need to do for the implementation. And this clarity tends to help raise awareness by clearly defining what needs to be done to enhance security and mitigate the risk. So you can present it to the board and tell them, see, this is where we are falling short. Kindly help us with more budget to recruit more people, to buy more tools, to hire a third-party organization to help us with this. Also, risk-based prioritization. At least you know where to start in regards to prioritizing your controls based on the risk. Then you focus on the critical threats and vulnerabilities. Thirdly, to do with compliance and measurement metrics. The controls come with compliance and measurement metrics that organizations can use to assess their security posture. So the metrics provide a form of quantifiable way to measure progress and also kind of track improvements. Since monitoring is something that is not a one-off, it's something that is ongoing, you need to emphasize on continuous monitoring of security practices. Yeah. So organizations are, as I said in my last slide, that it's something that you do regularly. You assess your security posture and you track the progress. You don't do it once and wait for the next 10 years for you to do it again. This thing is community driven, whereby we have knowledge sharing. It's not just made by CIS, but there is a community of different people or different industry, different organizations that have shared the information, and that is what has informed them to come with these controls. Yeah, and you see, when you do that, your organization will align with the industry standards, right? Depending on which framework you're using, NIST or CIS or PCI DSS, whichever that you're using. Yeah. So as a parting shot for how does CIS improve security awareness? It improves security awareness and visibility by providing clear objectives and requirements where you prioritize controls based on risk, offering customizable options and enabling ongoing reporting, which fosters a community-driven knowledge sharing and alignment with industry standards. Okay, what are some of the benefits to use the CIS controls? Cost effectiveness, yeah, which for self-assessment, it will allow your organizations to evaluate their cybersecurity posture, that is internally, and reduce the need for external consultants or auditors. It's a very easy to use tool, so you don't need to take a course for it, because currently we don't have a course for it, a certification course for it. We know we have certifications for COBIT. I don't think we have any for NIST, but we don't have one for CIS. You just log into their website, you look at the documents that they have, and you'll be able to understand. It also increases awareness. You get to know where your weaknesses and strengths are, which raises awareness of potential vulnerabilities, gaps, and areas that require improvement. Customization, very important, because it can be tailored to an organization's specific needs. Yeah, the CIS controls are not a one-size-fits-all. Also, it also shows you where you need to improve. That is continuous improvement, compliance validation, as I said during my at the beginning, where some of the governments will ask you to use a specific framework because of funding issues or compliance issues in that jurisdiction. So there's risk mitigation, accountability, and transparency. You can generate the report and share it with your colleagues, with your board, and everyone is going to see what's really happening. Yeah, and also for resource allocation, which is very important. You know who is supposed to deal with what. If there is a shortfall or you need someone else, it will show you, the controls are going to show you that this is where we are falling short of staff or resources. Some of the advantages include comprehensive coverage, risk-based approach. Comprehensive coverage, the controls will provide a comprehensive framework that cover a wide range of cybersecurity areas, yeah, as we've seen in the 18 controls, starting from the inventory to the penetration testing. A risk-based approach, which focus on the most significant threats and vulnerabilities that organizations face, because there's that knowledge sharing platform where people share what they have. Anything that is new will be shared, and they will be able to add it into the control. Also, it's adaptable and scalable. which means that if your organization is small and it's in its growing phase, you can move from implementing implementation group 1 to 2 and to 3, and also industry backed best practices. Yeah, because they've looked at all the industries, not only NGOs, and they've seen that this is what is really happening in this industry or in this environment, and they've ensured that it appears there. So the last bit of my presentation is I'm going to do a live demo of this tool. Yes, so someone tell me if you're able to see CIS control 1 in purple.
Sure.
Anyone?
Zach, I can see it. Ladies and gentlemen, just post in the chat if you're actually able to see it, or if you need Zach to increase his screen. Okay, Zach, I think you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. So what I'll do, I'll copy this and post it in the chat. In case if you don't have your account, oh, sorry, Angela, you'll help me to post it to the larger group.
Yes, I will. I will.
Yeah. So if you don't have an account with the CIS research tool, this is how it looks. You'll just log in, you'll put the domain name of your organization, and you'll be able to get the credentials or the link to create an account for your organization. And I will go a step further and ask you if you have any problems accessing, let's say someone from your organization created it and you don't know who it was, maybe they left, they can't remember the password. You can just share the details with the CIS team directly, and they'll be able to assist you to clear those credentials and give you another account. So this is the dashboard, which has got the 18 controls. Yeah. So you can decide to do implementation group 1. You can't do implementation group 2 only. You have to do 1 and 2, and you can't do implementation group 3 only. You have to do 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And here we are dealing with version 8.0. I think version 7 is still in use, but this is the one that we are discussing. So it's helpful. If you want to add more people to the organization, you'll come here under administration, and you'll be able to, if you've already created your organization, you'll be able to add other people and you give them administration rights. So here under all controls, you should be able to see all the 150 something safeguards. You remember 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 up to 1.5 just deal with implementation group 1. Okay, and we said safeguard 1 and 1.2 are the ones that fall under implementation group 1 under control 1. Yeah, okay. So if you want to get this safeguard here and work on it, you will come here under all controls, then it will give you the list of all the safeguards, taking time to load. Okay, and then you click on address unauthorized assets, and then it will open the safeguards. Here is a brief description of that control. Ensure that a process exists to address unauthorized assets on a weekly basis. Yeah, weekly basis. So do you have a policy defined? Say, for example, you don't have any control. Is it implemented in your organization? Say not implemented. Is it automated or you have to do it manually? That is if the control is there, not automated. And is it reported? What does it mean that control reported? As in, do you report this to the board, or is it just something that the cybersecurity team does and stops from there? Yeah, so we don't have it, so it means it's not reported. So when you're done, you can say complete sub control, and it's saying there are no evidence documents uploaded for this assessment. Are you sure you want to complete anyway? You'll say yes. So what are evidence documents? say, for example, because this one is going to be for your organization, if you have the policy, you can upload them here under evidence documents. Yeah, you can upload it here and share it with your bosses or your boards at the end of the day. Yeah, so after you've completed that, you can validate it so that when we go back to all controls, something is running here. When you go to all controls, okay, and it will show, it will give you a log. You can see it was assigned to me. The control has been completed and validated. So what if we are two people in an organization? Say, for example, you have a data team and I need them to validate something. I'll just come here and sorry, first I select the safeguard that I want, or the safeguards, it can be many, that I want them to be done by someone else. Since you've already created an organization and you've already added people to that organization, you'll just assign these subcontrols to users. You'll say, I'll assign to this person, and then you select that the date you want it done, give them it's optional, and then you click on save. The safeguard will go to their inboxes. But as a word of warning, if you are going to assign 156 safeguards to one person, it means this person is going to get 156 notifications in their inbox. So it's something that you need to be considerate. If it's to block that, to send those messages from CIS.org to spam or somewhere else, so that you're not spammed with, your inbox is not spammed with a lot of notifications from the CIS. So you'll assign these controls to that person, and that person will get the notification and they'll work on it. After they've completed working on it, okay, let me just do it. So for example, I'm the one who's been assigned this. I'm just going to do it like this, okay. I'll complete. I'll say, yes, I want to do that. So if I'm the one, oh, sorry. Okay, if it was assigned to me and I've sent it to Angela, for example, and she looks at it and she notices that there's something that is wrong with control automated. Maybe we've already automated this control and I don't know. So I'll send it back to the person that it was assigned to. I will not validate it. I'll just make sure that everything is okay. If it's not okay, I'll send it back to the person that was working on that control before I validate it. Because if you validate it, it means that all the safeguards are, all these are okay. Yeah. That's it. So how do you create an assessment? How do you create an assessment? Because you can have now more than one assessment. Okay, you come here on the dashboard here. My internet is taking time. Then, so if there is an assessment that was going on, you can delete it. Exactly what I'm going to do. I'll delete that assessment. It will take time because it wants to remove all the cache. So I'll click on current assessment, end assessment, and start a blank new assessment. I'll give it a name. Yeah. And which kind of controls the critical control version, I'll do version 8 because it's what we are working on currently. And then I'll click on start. It means I'll create a new kind of assessment. You can have more than one assessment. So that is why you need to create a blank one when you're starting. It's good because you can just play around with it, and then when you're ready to do it, and you can delete all those assessments that were there before, and start a new assessment now that you know how to use the tool. Okay. Yes, it takes time. So it's not that my computer is hanging or my internet is slow. Then the next thing. It's taking time.
Zach, did you also say does an Excel version, if someone is not able to actually log into the CSAT tool, that they can also use if they are not able to log into the CSAT tool?
Exactly. I was just opening the Excel version as this one was loading. So you can see here, I've changed it and it's now ICS. And you're going to do all the implementation group and it's version 8.0. That is for a start. So there are how many? 300 organizations have already downloaded this. So this one is going to gauge you in terms of the average. Yeah, so you'll find that it's 278, 350. That's where you are. Yeah. Oh, it's here. Organizations used for average 270. So for a particular control, it is going to give you a completion percentage and also a validation percentage, because we have those people who just do, but they don't validate. Yeah, so the tool is going to gauge you on what is happening in the industry. Yeah, not just for you. So you'll know that for this control one, I'm not doing well according to the industry standards. So you need to pull up your socks. And it's going to give you this graph. You can see control one. It's going to give you a percentage and the threshold that you need to meet to know that I'm kind of safe. Yeah, of course, you cannot get 100 out of 100, but you need to be somewhere. When you're done, you can come here on the reports and you can download the reports on board level slides. Can share with your board and tell them this is where we need to add more resources. We are falling short. A summary for you, a technical summary for you just to be reading, and also a PDF version. But under all controls, you should be able to download here. When you click here, you should be able to download the Excel version of it. Yeah, that is if all the controls are there. As Angela mentioned some few minutes ago, you can download this Excel file instead of using the tool. And you can see the controls are the same. Yeah, control 1.1 here, then you can give it a different color, let's say green, to say that you have completed this safeguard. If not, you can give it a red. You can just have that color scheme, and when you're done, you change the color scheme. This is the Excel version, and it's also free. You can get it from the CIS website. You can download it from the CIS website for free if you don't want to use the CIS web-based tool. Yeah. If you have any questions in regards to this tool, there is the workbench that you can create an account and ask questions, where you can also find people who've asked questions in regards to anything and everything in regards to the CIS research tool. So don't feel left out when you have an issue, but I'm also there to help you, thanks to Angela. So I'll stop from there and I'll pick your questions and try to answer them. Thank you very much.
Wow, Zach, now before you even catch your breath, there's a question on success stories or best practices from other SMEs that have successfully implemented this framework. So then the second part of the question is, what are the most challenging aspects of implementing it within an SME environment?
Angela, come again.
Okay, so the second part of the question is, what are the most challenging aspects of implementing these controls in an SME environment? I think a small implementation group 1 and maybe 2 kind of environment. And then also best practices for small organizations to follow.
Okay, I did a list of some of the things that you need to do when you are running the CIS tool, but some of the challenges include having the right resources in terms of personnel, and also people that understand what's really happening within the organization, because we all have a finance department, but we don't know who to go to get certain information or certain data. So finding the right data, the right information from the right person is the problem. Most of these SMEs, you'll find that they have a communication person who ends up to be the IT person, and they may not understand what's going on with the CIS CSAT tool. They'll just think that it's a tool for you to play around with, but it's very important. So we need to have the personnel, the IT person, to be able to run this particular exercise. And also, there is also the support from the board. Most of the board members will just sit there and will want to know what the profits that are coming to the organization or the SMEs. But in regards to the to the challenges of the CSAT tool or the assessment of this small organization, they don't care a lot, because if it's working, why repair it? Yeah. So those are some of the challenges that I've witnessed with the NGOs that I'm dealing with. I've not dealt with SMEs, unfortunately, but those are some of the challenges that I'm facing with the NGOs. The buy-in from the board, the right personnel, and also the organizations don't have the personnel to use the tool, and also the time, because seems like a lot of people are very busy doing their stuff. So if you ask them to do A, B, and C, they'll tell you, I'll do it later. They tend to forget it. They don't know the importance of running the exercise. But it does improve your cybersecurity posture. Yeah. So some of the best practices include just doing it continuously or periodically. Don't wait for 10 years, as I said earlier. So that you can know where you're moving from to each and every day or each and every quarter. And also it will let you know what you need to buy, what you need to prioritize exactly. Yeah, so you don't start with the least the thing that you don't need most. You start with the thing that you need most. So yeah, it's a very good tool. It's a very good exercise, the CIS benchmarking exercise or the assessment. It's a very good exercise which will tell you where we stand in terms of cybersecurity. I hope I've been able to answer the challenges and the best practices.
Yes, Zach. Thank you so much. It's been, wow. Yeah, I feel like I've been in class. I don't know what the ladies and gentlemen on the call feel like. So ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the close of our webinar. Just type into the chat how the webinar has been for you, and if you'd like us to do and any other topic that you'd like us to do. I've just pasted our social media channels, our email. You can reach out to us. So I'm so glad that so many of you were able to join us today for this webinar. We really had a great turnout, and I was really excited to see the engagement from every one of you. So allow me to take this opportunity to thank Zach. Zach, thank you so much all the way from Nairobi for presenting on these controls on this very, very important topic. Your presentation was quite informative, engaging, and not to mention, very well organized. You did a good job of explaining the controls and how they can be used to protect organizations from cyber attacks. So Zach, thank you very much once again, and we're honored to have you accept our invitation. And then I'd also like to thank everyone that's participated in the Q&A, that sent comments, that has joined in. Thank you so much for coming to attend this webinar, and we hope that it's been a valuable learning experience for you. And and thank you so much, Zach, once again. We look forward to hosting you maybe for another webinar. And to our ladies and gentlemen, our participants, we look forward to you joining us for our next webinar. We'll keep in touch on our social media channels, but we'll also communicate with you. So we'll share this presentation. We'll share all the resources, the Excel files, the links to the CSAT tools with you, for you to be able to implement this in your organizations and be able to see value. So if you do encounter any challenges, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than glad to, to help you out. So Zach, just giving you 2 seconds to give us your final words, and we'll call it a day.
Okay, I see Badru has got a question. His hand is raised up. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Badru, can you type your question in the chat and I'll be sure to follow up with you. We've
Yeah.
run out of time.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to the ISC Squared Uganda chapter. I really enjoyed, and I'm ready to answer your questions if you have any issues, or to assist you run this kind of assessment for your organization or the SMEs. I was just chatting Angela and telling her that some of the things that we do at the Cyber Peace Institute, which is different from NetHope, we offer cybersecurity services to SMEs, small local NGOs for free. So that is something else that you can chat with Angela if you are in need of advice, if you're in need of a penetration test to be done to your networks. You can ask her to give you my contacts, and then we'll see where we can go from there. But I'm really happy and thankful for this opportunity, and I hope to see you guys implement this in your organization. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Zach, for that gift. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you heard it. If you need any consultation on cybersecurity and you're a small NGO, please do reach out, and you'll have Zach will sort you out. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. It's been a pleasure. We will have more webinars in the same about cybersecurity and trainings, and we hope to see you then. We're going to share this. I've shared our email. Please do reach out to us and let us know how best we can help you. So we're going to share the templates, the links, so that you can, implement this tool. And when you do, please let us know how it was like for you, for your organization. So thank you so much. Have a great day. God bless you and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.